From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. AccuWeather hurricane experts are warning that a tropical storm may soon form in the Atlantic, while a hurricane will be on the prowl close to Mexico this week. The tropical threats come on the heels of a couple of days of quieter conditions in the Atlantic basin. Tropical storm number 10 of the Atlantic season appears to be mere days or possibly mere hours away from forming, and it has a chance of impacting land later this week. AccuWeather's Dan Pitonowski said that a cluster of showers and thunderstorms in the eastern Atlantic is gradually becoming better organized and has been designated as a tropical rainstorm by the National Hurricane Center. It is likely that the rainstorm will organize into a tropical storm or even a hurricane later on this week. The next names on the Atlantic list are Jerry and Karen. The tropical rainstorm is still a couple of days away from impacting land as it moves to the west over the central Atlantic. However, interests in the Caribbean should closely monitor the storm's progress this week. Steering winds may cause the storm to pass close to the northeastern Caribbean islands later on this week or this weekend. This would bring a glancing blow of rain and wind. After that, a few scenarios for future movement are on the table, including the potential for the tropical system to curve northward sooner, completely missing the Caribbean islands. Pitonowski said that while many options remain possible with its future track, the most likely track appears to turn the future storm to the north as it passes near the Caribbean islands. This would keep it east of the U.S. mainland. Still, with possible interaction with land over a week out, interests all across the Caribbean and along the east coast of the U.S. should closely monitor the tropics through the middle of the month. A country which recently sustained twin hits from Umberto and Imelda is also at risk. Impacts to Bermuda cannot be ruled out later on this week, depending on when the storm makes a more northward turn. Elsewhere in the Atlantic basin, AccuWeather hurricane experts are indicating a medium risk for tropical development off the southeast coast from the Bahamas north to near the Carolinas later this week. A tropical rainstorm is likely to develop later on this week, threatening coastal flooding, beach erosion, and even heavy rainfall to the east coast. AccuWeather meteorologists are also monitoring a small area in the Bay of Bengal for the middle of the week. While the risk of a tropical rainstorm or storm formation is low with this system, localized flooding, rough surf, and tidal flooding, made only worse from this week's expected king tides, will be possible over the next few days along the southeast coast. While we await a new tropical storm in the Atlantic, the eastern Pacific basin is already bustling with activity. On Sunday, Hurricane Octave and Hurricane Priscilla were churning to the west of Mexico. Pitonowski said that Priscilla will skirt the western coast of Mexico, but pass just close enough to bring some locally heavy rain over the next few days. A few inches of rain that can cause flooding, wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour, and rip currents are expected over the southern and western Baja California peninsula through Friday. Since the core of the hurricane is expected to remain offshore, Priscilla is less than 1 on the AccuWeather Real Impact scale for hurricanes. The AccuWeather Local Storm Max is 8 inches for rain and 70 miles per hour for wind. Leftover moisture from Priscilla is forecasted to pull into the southwestern U.S. and could bring an enhanced risk for flooding this weekend. Meanwhile, Octave, located several hundred miles to the west of Priscilla, will pose no threat to land over the next few days and may actually merge its energy with Priscilla later on this week. Now, of greater interest will be an area at a high risk for tropical development later on this week to the south of Mexico. The next storm that may develop behind Priscilla in the next few days, and some of Priscilla's moisture, could eventually result in locally heavy showers and thunderstorms to the southwest and Four Corners in the U.S. by late this week and into the weekend. A 12-year EF5 tornado drought ended Monday morning with the National Weather Service in Grand Forks, North Dakota, announcing that a twister in Enderlin, North Dakota on June 20th had winds greater than 210 miles per hour. That classifies it as a monster EF5 tornado, the highest rating possible. The tornado killed 3 people and was more than a mile wide, leaving a massive scar on satellite images. The unusually high forensic damage wind speed estimates came from the twister tipping fully loaded grain hopper cars from a train and tossing one empty tanker car nearly 500 feet. Trees were also uprooted and tossed by the tornado with root balls. Other trees left standing had only stubs of trunks and were debarked. A local farmstead was swept clean off its foundation. The tornado was one of 25 twisters that night, which also featured a derecho and post-derecho high winds across much of the state. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.